I want you to picture two coworkers. Same company, same floor, same coffee machine they both complain about every morning. The first one, let's call her Dana. Dana makes $78,000 a year. She has a nice apartment, 2 bedrooms, a parking spot, a balcony she never actually sits on. She drives a leased SUV, takes one big vacation every year, always picks up the tab at dinner because it feels good to be the generous one. Her Instagram has brunch photos and concert tickets and a weekend trip to Nashville. From the outside, Dana looks like she's doing great. The second one, let's call her Priya. Priya makes $74,000. She drives a 9-year-old Honda that she paid cash for. She brings lunch to work 4 days a week. She doesn't have a flashy apartment. It's a 1-bedroom near a bus line. She says no to things sometimes, and some people think she's a little boring. She doesn't post much online. From the outside, Priya looks like she's just getting by. Both of them are 49 years old. Both of them are 1 year away from turning 50. Here is where the story gets uncomfortable. Dana has $23,000 saved for retirement. She has $4,600 in her checking account, a car payment she's locked into for 2 more years, and $11,000 in credit card debt. She tells herself she'll start saving seriously when she gets her next raise. She's been saying that for 11 years. Priya has $387,000 invested. She maxes out her 401k. She has 6 months of expenses in a high-yield savings account. She owns her car outright. She has no consumer debt. The gap between their salaries over their entire careers is maybe $60,000 total. The gap in their net worth is close to $400,000. This isn't a story about income. It's a story about the invisible choices that compound quietly for decades until one day you turn 50 and reality hands you a number you weren't ready to see. Let me start with a concept that will reframe how you think about your financial life for the rest of your time watching this video, maybe for the rest of your life. Most people manage their money backwards. They earn, they spend, and then they save whatever happens to be left over. And because life is expensive and spending expands to fill available income, a concept economists call lifestyle inflation, what's left over is usually close to nothing. This is the backwards money model, and it's the default setting for the overwhelming majority of working adults in this country. Studies consistently show that the average American between the ages of 45 and 54 has somewhere between $100,000 and $180,000 saved in retirement accounts. Financial planners generally suggest you need roughly 25 times your annual expenses saved to retire comfortably. If your annual expenses are $50,000, you need $1.25 million. Most 50-year-olds are sitting at somewhere between 7% and 14% of what they actually need, and they have maybe 15 years left to close a gap that would take a miracle to close. That's the reality. Not to scare you, to give you the full picture. You don't need a new income. You need a new system. And that system starts with 8 rules that most people never learn because nobody teaches them. Rule 1. Stop managing money backwards. Pay yourself first, not last. Most people think saving is what you do with the money that's left over after everything else is paid. They'll save when things calm down. They'll save when the car is paid off. What researchers have found again and again is that money left in a checking account gets spent. Not because people are reckless, because it's there. It's accessible. They automate a transfer out of their paycheck before they ever touch it. The money moves to a retirement account, a brokerage, or a savings account on payday, automatically. If you automate $500 per month starting at age 30, you'll have roughly $567,000 by age 65. If you wait until 40 to start, you end up with around $243,000. Waiting 10 years costs you $324,000 just from procrastination, not from bad investments, not from emergencies, from waiting. The barrier isn't knowledge. The barrier is friction. Remove the friction. Set up the automation. Do it this week. Rule 2. Understand what your monthly spending is actually buying you and what it's not. When you spend $200 on something, there's a second thing you're always buying, and most people never account for it. You're also buying the decision not to invest that $200. $200 invested today at 7% average return becomes approximately $800 in 20 years and over $1,500 in 30 years. So that $200 dinner isn't just $200. At age 30, spending that $200 instead of investing it is a decision that costs you $1,500 in future wealth. Most overspending isn't on things people love. It falls into categories like random online shopping, food delivery out of laziness, upgrades they didn't need, and subscriptions that auto-renew. Spending money on things that don't make you happy is the most expensive thing you can do. Before any discretionary purchase above a certain threshold, whether it's $50 or $100, ask not just, can I afford this, but what am I actually trading for this? Rule 3. Your car is quietly one of the most expensive financial decisions you make. The average American spends between $10,000 and $12,000 per year on their vehicle, when you add up the car payment, insurance, gas, maintenance, registration. If you'd kept your car spending at $6,000 per year and invested the $4,000 annual difference, at 7% average returns, you'd have roughly $852,000 in extra wealth. The car industry talks about monthly payments. $399 a month sounds reasonable, but $399 per month for 60 months is $23,940. The moment you drive a leased car off the lot, you're locked into cycling into another lease in 3 years because you have no equity, you have mileage caps. The savings between always have a new car and always drive a reasonable used car can easily exceed $200,000 over a lifetime. Rule 4. The house is an asset, but it's also an expense, and people routinely confuse the two. The dominant narrative is that buying a home is always the right move. Build equity. Don't throw money away on rent. After adjusting for inflation, U.S. home prices have risen at an average annual rate of roughly 0.4% per year. Stocks have averaged around 7% annually after inflation. Property taxes run 1 to 2% of the home's value per year. Maintenance, 1% annually. On a $400,000 house, that's $4,000 a year, every year. The biggest wealth mistake in housing isn't buying. It's buying too much house. People stretch to buy at the top of their pre-approval. A $50,000 difference in the purchase price of your home over a 30-year mortgage costs you more like $90,000 to $110,000 when you account for interest. Rule 5. Inflation punishes savers and rewards investors, and most people are saving when they should be investing. Money sitting in a regular savings account loses purchasing power every single year. Inflation has averaged roughly 3% annually. A standard savings account was paying 0.01% to 0.5%. If inflation is 3% and your savings account pays 0.5%, your money is losing 2.5% of its real value every year. You are getting poorer while thinking you're being responsible. 3 to 6 months of expenses in a high-yield savings account, currently paying around 4 to 5%, is genuinely valuable as an emergency fund. The 40-year-old who has $80,000 in a savings account instead of a diversified index fund portfolio has made a decision that could cost them $350,000 to $450,000 in investment growth. It requires opening a tax-advantaged account, a 401k through your employer, or an IRA, and putting money into low-cost index funds that track the broad market. That's it. Rule 6. Debt is not the same as debt, and treating it the same is costing you. High-interest consumer debt, credit cards, buy now, pay later, payday loans is wealth destruction in installments. If you carry a $5,000 balance at 22% and make minimum payments, you'll pay more than $12,000 total, and it will take you over 20 years to clear. That same $5,000 invested in the market for 20 years at 7% would grow to roughly $19,000. The swing between carrying that debt and not carrying it is over $26,000 from one credit card balance. Kill the high-interest debt first, then invest. The math of a 22% guaranteed return from paying off a credit card versus a hoped-for 7 to 10% from an investment is not even close. This video is for educational purposes, not financial advice. Speak with a qualified professional for decisions about your specific situation. The credit card industry is one of the most profitable industries in human history, specifically because carrying a balance feels manageable, right up until it isn't. Rule 7. Lifestyle inflation is the invisible enemy of wealth, and it scales with income. You get a raise. Your life gets a little more expensive. You get another raise. Your life gets more expensive again. Researchers have a name for it: lifestyle creep. When income rises, most people upgrade roughly in proportion. Bigger apartment, nicer car, more dinners out, better vacations. Households making $150,000 to $200,000 per year often have savings rates that are barely better than households making $70,000 to $80,000 because expenses scaled right along with income. A doctor earning $250,000 with a $230,000 lifestyle is building wealth more slowly than a teacher earning $65,000 with a $45,000 lifestyle. The arithmetic is merciless. The antidote is a deliberate decision. Every time your income goes up, to split the increase. Half goes toward upgrading your life. Half goes toward wealth. Most people do zero of that splitting, and then wonder at 50 why their lifestyle always felt fine, but the savings account always looked thin. Rule 8. The math of starting late is brutal, but the math of starting now is miraculous. If you're at 35 or 40 or 45 and you're behind, there is a version of you that wants to give up before you start. That voice says the gap is too big. That voice is wrong. If you invest $1,000 per month from 40 to 65 at 7% average annual return, you accumulate approximately $811,000. If you invest $1,500 per month from 40 to 65, you reach roughly $1.2 million. That is a real retirement. That is workable. If you implement just a few of the rules in this video, eliminate your high-interest debt, drive a cheaper car, stop the lifestyle creep, automate before you spend, it becomes possible. The people who are truly in trouble at 65 are not the people who started late. They're the people who started late and never changed the underlying behaviors. Automate the savings, kill the debt, stop the lifestyle inflation, buy a sensible car. Do those 4 things, and the math starts working for you instead of against you. I am not done yet, because knowing the rules is only about half of the battle. The other half is implementation. Most people fail at implementation, not because they're lazy, but because they try to change everything at once, burn out in 3 weeks, and conclude that they're just not good with money. You are good with money. You simply haven't had a structured system. Here it is. This week, literally the next 7 days, do one thing. Open a high-yield savings account or log into your 401k and increase your contribution by 1%. If your employer offers a match and you're not capturing the full match, increase your contribution to at least the match threshold. That is a 50% to 100% instant return on your money. This month, pull up 3 months of bank and credit card statements and categorize your spending. Not to judge yourself, just to see it. The average person underestimates their monthly food spending by about 40%. They underestimate their subscription spending by more than that. You can't improve what you can't see. Get the picture and identify the single biggest spending category that doesn't bring you meaningful joy. This quarter, the next 90 days, if you have high-interest credit card debt, make a real plan to eliminate it. Not pay a little extra each month, a real plan with a real payoff date. The avalanche method. Pay off the highest interest debt first while making minimums on everything else. The snowball method. Pay off the smallest balance first for the psychological win. The best debt payoff strategy is the one you complete. If you have no high-interest debt, spend this quarter automating your investment contributions and building your emergency fund. Nope, not over yet. There's one more thing to address. It's the thing nobody talks about at cocktail parties or in LinkedIn posts about hustle and success. It's the identity piece. Most people who are behind financially have built an identity around not being a money person. They think of themselves as creative or generous or spontaneous, all wonderful things, and they've unconsciously filed careful with money under boring, constrained, not me. The shift that works is an identity reframe. Not, I'm trying to be better with money, but I am someone who builds wealth. I am someone who pays myself first. When the behavior matches the identity, it sticks. When it doesn't, it's a diet that lasts 3 weeks. You don't have to be boring to be financially secure. You don't have to stop enjoying your life. Priya wasn't miserable. Let's go back to them. Dana and Priya both turned 50. Dana got the number from her HR department. The 401k balance after nearly 25 years of half measures. $23,000. She sat with it for a minute, and then she told her husband they'd probably have to work until 70. Priya didn't need to get a number from anyone. She knew hers. She'd been checking it quarterly for 2 decades, watching it grow. She didn't retire at 50. She still enjoys her work, but she knows she could. She has the freedom to choose. That freedom, the actual, tangible freedom to walk away from a job you hate, to not work sick, to take care of an aging parent, to say no to things that don't serve you, is what financial security actually buys. Not stuff, not signals, freedom. The gap between them isn't talent. It isn't luck. It isn't even income. Dana lived in the destructive cycle. Earn, spend, look successful, save nothing, feel vaguely anxious about money without ever addressing it, repeat. Priya lived in the virtuous cycle. Automate savings first, live on the rest, let the investments grow. Notice that the growing balance makes the next contribution easier. Repeat. Both cycles are available to anyone right now. Both are self-sustaining once you're in them. The choice is simply whether you want to spend the next 15 years building a number that gives you options or managing a lifestyle that gives you the appearance of options while the actual ones quietly disappear. Every single month you wait to start is a month you can never get back because of compound interest, which requires only 2 inputs, money and time. You control both. The average person at 50 has $100,000 to $180,000 saved. The average person needs over $1 million. The gap is real, and it's large. You know how to close it now. Not all the way, maybe, not overnight, but meaningfully, permanently, starting this week with one automated transfer.
Dana's story doesn't have to be yours. And Priya's story is not just for people who were born organized or disciplined or naturally frugal.
It's for anyone who decides, clearly and finally, that the number matters. That the future self sitting down to look at a retirement balance deserves better than $23,000. You can be that person. You already know what to do. The question is just when you're going to start.